What happened to Freddie and the Dreamers?
Freddie and the Dreamers were the clowns of the British invasion, playing their pop music for laughs while the other groups of the time were dead serious. Prior to becoming a singer, Garrity had worked as a milkman in Manchester. Lead singer Freddie Garrity began playing in skiffle groups in the late 50s, switching to rock and roll in the early 60s. The band was formed in March 1962 in West Didsbury, Manchester, consisting of vocalist Freddie Garrity, guitarist Roy Crutzen, guitarist/harmonica player Derek Quinn, bassist Peter Birrell, and drummer Bernie Dwyer. Birrell was a shoe salesman during the early stages of the band. In 1959, Freddie Garrity was working as a brush salesman in West Didsbury, Manchester, and at that time, a band called the Kingfishers were rehearsing nearby in a council flat. The group was looking for a new name, and it was well known in the area. One day, while Garrity was working across the road from where the band was rehearsing, a lady asked him if he had found a name for the group yet, and he said no. The lady then said, "You're a right lot of dreamers." Garrity thought it was a good name and went across the road to suggest it to the band, and the band liked the idea and decided to call themselves the Dreamers. Although the band was grouped as part of the Merseybeat sound phenomenon centered around Liverpool, they came from Manchester. After the Beatles broke the American market wide open, Freddie and the Dreamers followed in the flood of acts that tried to duplicate the overwhelming success of the Fab Four. In the early years of the band, Garrity's official birth date was given as November 14th, 1940, to make him appear younger and therefore more appealing to the youth market who bought the majority of records sold in the UK. Garrity's trademark was his comic dancing called the Freddie, and his habit of leaping up and down during performances. This, combined with his almost skeletal appearance and horn-rimmed glasses, made him an unorthodox figure in the UK rock scene of the early 60s. The group's hits were more numerous in the UK than in America, where they had only one top 10 hit, the number one single, "I'm Telling You Now." They had 4 top 10 UK hits, a cover of James Ray's hit "If You Gotta Make a Fool Out of Somebody," which reached number 3 in the UK in mid-1963. They also had "I'm Telling You Now," which reached number 2 in August, "You Were Made for Me," which reached number 3 in November, and a cover of "I Understand," which hit the number 5 spot in November 1964. Their self-titled debut album was released in the UK in 1963, peaking at number 5 in the UK albums chart and reaching number 19 in the Billboard 200 in 1965. It was the only LP by the group to chart in the US. Their subsequent 4 albums in the UK failed to chart. On stage, the group performed rehearsed, synchronized, wacky dance routines. They appeared in 4 British films: What a Crazy World with Joe Brown, Just for You, Cuckoo Patrol with Kenneth Connor and Victor Mattern, and Every Day's a Holiday with Mike Sarn, Ron Moody, and John Layton. As 1965 turned into 1966, the group stopped charting in the US and the hits began to dwindle in the UK as well. And by 1968, the original group disbanded. After Fame, Quinn ran an entertainment agency, Roy moved to the Canary Islands and bought a bar, and Pete became a taxi driver. Garrity later assembled new versions of the Dreamers, and the group toured for 2 decades, releasing 3 albums on the Arnie Shack label in 1976, 1978, and 1983, although Birrell had left before the 3rd album. Garrity made a solo appearance on the first episode of the Granada television production, The Wheel Tappers and Shunters Social Club, singing "Try a Little Kindness" and "Good Morning Starshine," which was broadcast on April 14th, 1974. In the sitcom Dear John, he appeared as himself for 1 episode in both the British original in 1987 and the American version in 1989, And in America, he was on the episode The Return of Ricky, Season 1, Episode 11. In 1990, he appeared in the final episode of Roland Riveron's comedy show Set of Six. And in 1993, he appeared in an episode of Heartbeat as an amateur DJ named Tiny Whedon, who in the episode plays the Freddie and the Dreamers record, You Were Made for Me, on the conclusion of which he jokingly credits the artist as Frida and the Dreamers. However, Garrity's health began to decline and he became acutely ill on a plane from New York to Britain in 2001, reportedly due to emphysema. He was married 3 times and had 1 daughter from his first marriage and 3 children from his second marriage. Unfortunately, Bernie Dwyer died of lung cancer on December 4th, 2002. With his health in decline, Garrity settled in a bungalow called Dreamer's Inn in Moreton Avenue. Subsequently often confined to a wheelchair, Freddie died in Bangor, Wales on May 19, 2006 at the age of 69. In late 2020, Quinn tested positive for COVID-19 during the COVID-19 pandemic in the UK. He died in the early hours of October 22nd, 2020 at the age of 78. And that's what happened to Freddie and the Dreamers. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as of the recording of this video in January 2024, Roy and Peter are still alive. And let me know if any of you guys know any information about them currently, because I was unable to find much of anything about their current whereabouts. But once again, thank you for watching. Give me some facts about the band that I failed to mention, and I'll see you in the next video.